They say that in baseball, you can't hit what you can't see, but that sure isn't true in driving. In fact, the number one cause of crashes is drivers running into things they don't see, like a car coming from the side, a pedestrian stepping into the street, or a driver changing lanes. The reason they don't see is that they just aren't looking in the right place at the right time. Experienced drivers learn the trouble spots by getting into them and mostly getting out of them. But the best way to handle trouble spots is to avoid them in the first place. This segment addresses the topic of where to look and when. Trouble can come from ahead, especially at intersections. Trouble can also come from the side. Other vehicles may be right next to you, but their drivers don't even know you're there. Trouble can come from behind, too. After a collision, it's common to hear the driver who was at fault claim, "I was looking, but I didn't see him coming." To examine the difference between looking and seeing, let's take a quick test. Take a moment to count the number of F's that appear in the following sentence on the screen. So, how many did you count? There are actually 6 F's in the sentence. Sometimes our eyes and brains automatically skip past important details if we're not careful. When you look at something, you're just aiming your eyes in a certain direction. But seeing involves fully processing what your eyes see in order to send a meaningful message to your brain. When it comes to driving, the eyes have it, but they've got to be pointed in the right direction. That's what the next segments are all about. The process of looking is referred to as a visual search. Seeing well is more than simply taking in the roadway scene. It also requires actively searching places where trouble might be lurking. To actively search, you move your eyes in a constant pattern, scanning near to far and left to right. The goal of active searching is to identify, as early as possible, anything that might require you to adjust your speed, change your position by steering, or communicate with another road user. Just looking ahead doesn't cut it. Good drivers actively search, checking to their sides and to the rear while still looking most of the time at the path ahead. But some drivers don't really see what's ahead. This is one of the 2 major causes of crashes. About 1 out of every 5 crashes results from a driver not paying enough attention to what's ahead. Even many experienced drivers don't realize how dangerous it is to look away from the roadway ahead for more than just a second. In fact, looking away from the road for just 2 seconds doubles your chance of having a collision. But looking ahead is only part of it. How far ahead is another. Beginning drivers tend to focus on the road just in front of the car. That doesn't give you much time to react. Keeping your eyes focused farther down the road gives you a heads up on what's happening and lets you come to a gradual, even stop. But how can you keep your car in its lane if you're looking way ahead? It turns out that if you aim your vehicle at the middle of the lane, you'll actually do less zigzagging back and forth. Looking farther ahead may feel strange at first because your instinct is probably to look at the front corners of your car, but stay with it. Looking far enough ahead will pay off every day you drive. In addition to helping you drive safely, looking well down the road can help keep you from needing to slow down or stop for other cars. And seeing that signal light turn yellow from way back gives you the time and space to come to a smooth stop. Looking ahead includes scanning the areas on both sides of the road. What's at the side of the road now may be in the road in a minute, like that truck pulling away very slowly. Seeing it up ahead gives you a chance to adjust. Not only do you need to look ahead and scan the sides of the road, but you also need to look far enough ahead. If you can, you should scan as far ahead as 20 to 30 seconds. But the area that you should focus on most is the area that is 12 to 15 seconds directly ahead. This is called your visual control zone. It includes the space you can steer into if a potential problem develops into a threatening situation. Detecting any potential problems 12 to 15 seconds ahead should give you time to adjust to whatever you see. Here on a city street, that's about 1 block. Out here on the open road, traveling at 55 miles per hour, that would be about 1/4 of a mile. Unfortunately, roads don't have little lines that show 15-second intervals, so it's up to you to develop a picture in your mind's eye. When you're driving down the road, pick a point in the distance, like that sign, and start counting to 15. 1001, 1002, 1003,
1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 1012,
1013, 1014, 1015. If you reach the sign before you reach 1015, you need to look further ahead. With a bit of practice counting distance out like this, you'll start to develop a sense of how far ahead 15 seconds is. It's okay if you don't clearly see all of the detail in the area 15 seconds ahead. The main thing is to look far enough ahead to be able to spot potential trouble and adjust early and gradually to what you can see. Most new drivers don't look far enough ahead. If there's a vehicle ahead, most of them just look at the rear of that vehicle and nothing else. Okay, let's take a drive and try out your active searching techniques. In each scene, there will be something up ahead that you'll need to react to. The picture will stop at that point, and you'll be asked what you saw. What did you see? Since there may be workers and unusual vehicles in construction zones, you should slow down and use additional caution. What did you see? The flashers told you that the car was stopped or driving slowly and you'd need to change lanes. So let's keep going. What did you see this time? Large trucks cannot accelerate as quickly as passenger vehicles. You can expect to either change lanes or slow down to avoid running into it. How about that one? Oh, that one's easy. When a school bus stops, you stop. Although some drivers may go on by, don't risk it. Where there are school buses, there are children. Much of the action around your vehicle happens in front, which is why it's so critical to look far enough ahead and keep your eyes moving. But you also need to know what's going on to your sides at all times. It's no surprise that there's a lot going on to the sides at intersections. That's one reason why more crashes happen in intersections than in any other place. After you come to a stop here, you check to the left, all clear. You check to the right, and you see that you need to wait just a second. Okay, it's safe to go. Whoa! Let's see that again. You looked left and no one was coming. Then you checked to the right. But while you were waiting for that car, this driver pulled onto the road and headed your way. Failing to see cars at intersections is one of the two major causes of car crashes, along with not seeing what's happening ahead. You started out correctly by first checking to your left. That's the first path of traffic you would have to cross. And then you check to the right for the next path you would enter. But you should never, make that never, ever start to cross a path of traffic without checking for traffic again just before you do it. Right turns are a bit easier than crossing an intersection. You only have to worry about cars from one direction. Now it's clear to go. Or is it? Remember, traffic includes pedestrians as well as vehicles. This time, you need to wait for that car to continue before you can turn left. While you wait, be sure to keep your wheels pointed straight ahead instead of turned. This will help prevent you from being pushed into the other vehicle's path just in case you're hit from behind. Okay, now can you go? He has a green light too. Always make your last check a check of the travel path that you'll cross first. That way, you can detect any other nearby roadway users as well. And when you're the first car in line waiting at a red light, you should just assume that another car will run its red light once yours turns green. To avoid these types of collisions, don't race into an intersection the instant the light changes. Check the flow of traffic to the left and right of your vehicle. Any place with a lot of pedestrian traffic bears watching extra carefully. The same is true where there are children playing. Sometimes even adult pedestrians enter the roadway unexpectedly. In areas where this is more likely, you can use a technique called ground viewing. Ground viewing means just what it sounds like, scanning the ground to spot potential trouble. Although you may not see a pedestrian's body until it's too late, you might be able to detect that pedestrian's shadow or the movement of their feet, which still gives you enough time to respond. Only use ground viewing when driving slowly and for very brief periods of time. You You don't want to miss something directly ahead of you. Looking effectively ahead and to the sides is important for safe driving, but there's one other area where you need to look on a regular basis, and that's to the rear. Using your mirrors to successfully change lanes and merge is described later in the course. This segment focuses on checking traffic behind when you're slowing down and backing up. When you're slowing down, of course you're concerned about what's up ahead, but you also need to be aware of what's behind you. A driver directly behind you may be slow to realize that you're slowing down, especially if you have to brake quickly. It's especially important to check behind if you plan to slow down or stop at a place where other drivers wouldn't expect it. And it can't hurt to tap the brake pedal a couple of times before you actually apply the brakes to slow down. This will help notify the driver behind that something is about to happen. Let's shift gears a little, into reverse to be exact. Backing up is not easy, and it's harder to see where you're going than when you're driving forward. Fortunately, you have side and rear view mirrors, but using just the mirrors while backing won't let you see everything you need to see. That's why you need to look over your right shoulder and out the back window. This move helps you see even more of what's going on back there. A lot of backing up these days happens in parking lots, particularly in shopping centers where there's lots of pedestrian traffic. Sometimes it's not possible to pull through one spot in order to park in the next one. That means you'll have to back out of the spot. What makes it tricky is that your view of the travel lanes may be blocked by other cars. In this case, treat it like any other blind intersection and ease out slowly. That way, if another car is driving by, you won't be fully in its way. What's the best move here? If you were looking behind, you'd have seen not only the vehicle directly behind you, but the vehicle just off your left rear corner as well. That vehicle is too close for you to change lanes to the left, so your only option is to slow down. Here, you're ready to leave your parking spot. What are your next moves? After shifting into reverse, look over your right shoulder. Your view is partially blocked, so it's hard to see into the lane you're backing into. You'll have to slowly ease out, continuing to look for any nearby vehicles. Most of the time, driving conditions are clear and dry, and don't prevent you from seeing what you should be seeing on the road. But even when it's bright outside, the sun may not always help you out. Glare caused by the sun just after sunrise and just before sunset can make it much harder to see ahead. Sunglasses can help if they're polarized to reduce glare. Also, your sun visor can help to block out the sun. When the sun is in your eyes, it can be hard to see what the car ahead is doing. This is one more time when it pays to leave a little more following distance. Rarely will visibility be absolutely perfect where you're driving. If you know this and make the proper adjustments, you can minimize any additional risk that comes with less than optimal visual conditions. Being a good driver means being good with your eyes. You can't avoid what you fail to see. But if you're not actively searching for potential risky situations, even 20/20 vision won't help you. So constantly scan your path ahead, continually searching for space to move into if you need to, identify anything that obstructs your vision, and most of all, keep your eyes moving.